Whose woods are these? I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Dylan Thomas wrote this poem, "Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night," and when I read it, it was very angry. The fury that he had behind his words was really empowering. The entirety of the poem was kind of about people who are unhappy going into death. He wrote one line, "Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words have forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night." This to me meant that even if people who are older or who are really sick know that it's their time to go, that if they didn't change the world somehow or cause an uproar for something or use their words in some powerful way, they're not going to be happy going into death. Dylan Thomas used this line a lot. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. This was definitely the most powerful line to me. The repetitiveness kind of got to me because it showed how angry he was, the rage, the anger that people would have going into the darkness, the dying of the light, the darkness meaning death. It was really powerful. And then at the end of the poem, we see that the anger that we kind of thought was violent or so angry was really sad anger because of his father that was dying. So he was really just interpreting a poem because of his anger and the sadness he had that his father was dying. So it's more than what met the eye.
My daughter, as if I owned her. That girl with the hair wispy as a frayed bell pull has been to the barber, that knife grinder, and had the edge of her hair sharpened. Each strand now cuts both ways. The blade of new bangs hangs over her red-brown eyes like carbon steel. All the little spliced ropes are sliced. The curtain of dark paper cuts veils the face that started from next to nothing in my body. My body, my daughter. I'll have to find another word. In her bright helmet, she looks at me as if across a great distance. Distant fires can be glimpsed in the resin light of her eyes, the watchfires of an enemy, a while before the war starts.
Hills Like White Elephants by Ernest Hemingway was a story that has so much symbolism and it seems endless. The first time I read it, I was getting really confused reading it because the conversation never seemed to be on topic. It always seemed like it was jumping from here to there, asking for drinks, and then talking about the hills, and I was very confused. So I had to read it like 3 or 4 times to fully understand it, but the more I read it, the more symbols I could find, and the more I started to enjoy it more. So the 3 symbols that I thought were most important, the first one is the white elephants. The white elephants, obviously being an important part of the story because it's in the title of the story, they're a huge symbol. They symbolize the unborn baby that's never actually mentioned in the story. Like the word baby is never mentioned, but the operation that the boyfriend keeps talking about we assume is an abortion. So the hills referencing to the babies, she looks out in the distance and says, those hills look like white elephants, and she's not sure if they want the baby, not sure if she should keep it, not sure if she should have the abortion for her boyfriend because he's saying that it's okay, everything's going to be okay. And then I thought it was sad because later on she said, oh, those hills don't look like white elephants, just similar colors, because she's so indecisive about the baby. The second symbol that I thought was really important was the railroad station. The railroad station wasn't mentioned as much as I thought it would have been. I thought that it was really symbolic because the railroad tracks can represent so many different things in the story, because the tracks behind them are their past and the station that they're at is their present, and then the winding tracks for the future is unseen, and we don't know what's going to happen yet. They don't know where they're going on the tracks, kind of thing. Then the last symbol that I picked up on that I thought was most important was the drinking. The drinking was a huge symbol of unwanted conversation. Neither of them wanted to keep the topic of the baby or the abortion because they kept asking, "Oh, do you want another drink?" or "Can we have another drink?" or "What should we have to drink next?" They kept bringing up drinks because they didn't want to present themselves with the real issue that was going on. So I thought that was a really important symbol too. The whole entire story, I could go on and on with different symbols that I picked up on, but I don't have all day. So those were the three that were most important to me, and Hills Like White Elephants was a really great story. Nature's first green as gold, her hardest hue to hold, her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes to day, nothing gold can stay. Dead Man's Path was a great story. I very much enjoyed it. The author did a really great job of portraying such a strong message. And as I read it, I was kind of shocked to see what happened to Mr. Obi, because he seemed so excited to be a part of the school, and then suddenly took over with no concern with the other people in the village. And once the mention of the path was brought up to him, he was kind of like, why was this path even there to begin with, and why is anybody allowed back there? He's very strange the way he acted towards it. So when he had it blocked off, and people tried to tell him that no, you shouldn't do that, the community really likes it, and I think that Mr. Obi kind of lost his way, and realizing that the school that he was becoming a part of, just because he wanted the inspector to come and write a good review, that he forgot the school was a part of the community, and that's really important to know, and he didn't realize it. So as I was reading this, the question that I brought to myself was, did he get what he deserved? Yes. He had people warning him not to do it. They told him what would happen if he did end up closing the path. And in the story, when the woman passed away, yes, that may or may not have been because of him blocking off the path, but if he didn't block off the path and that woman passed away anyways, they wouldn't have blamed him. They wouldn't have caused a huge riot in front of the school and everything. And then the irony of the inspector coming and getting a bad review because he was so self-centered and not listening to the wants or needs of other people. So I think that he got what he deserved, and the story was really great, and I really liked the message that he gave to kind of take into consideration other people's thoughts.